Hello friends, I'm Paul Shen. This is the Boomerist Car Channel on YouTube. This is a 1929 Ford Model A mail truck. You may have seen this on the channel before. Today, it's finally going to get its chance at the spotlight. We're going to be talking about this Ford Model A mail truck number 387 and tell you just how cool this ultra rare Model A body style really is. In 1929, the United States Postal Service ordered 400 chassis from Ford. So Ford delivered pretty much everything from the cowl forward and downward. The post office built everything else, including this super cool body. So Ford supplied all the chassis and engines and hoods, fenders, all that part. The U.S. Postal Service had Heyman build the bodies out of wood to their specifications. So they sent all the chassis out, had them built, they all came back, the Postal Service put all their finishing touches on it, and off we go. All the 1929 Ford Model A mail trucks came with openings here in the back. Now, if you ever see a mail truck that has glass back here, that's been added. This is how they came, just wide open with this metal mesh. There are some canvas flaps here that you can snap into place to kind of sort of cover this. But for the most part, this is how they came. Very spacious, by the way. There is lots of room back here. Although these were not used for door-to-door mail delivery, so supposedly what these were used for was delivering mail bags. And those of you who are probably at least my age or maybe even younger probably remember that your mail carrier used to walk from house to house delivering the mail. They didn't just drive from box to box. So the mail bags, so the mail being delivered, the mail being picked up, be put into bags, lock put on the bag. They would be dropped at various locations. The mail carriers would pick them up, deliver the mail, bring the mail that people wanted to send, put it in a bag, leave it in a sack. A truck like this would pick up those bags, drop the bags off at the various locations. You can almost camp back here. Oh yeah, no problem. Some call it propaganda, some call it patriotic, but it was pretty common for a Ford Model A mail truck to have some signs on it trying to recruit people to go to war. I just drive around the neighborhoods like that and kids would go, wow, that looks cool. Thank God they did. Unlike some of the other 1929 Ford Model A body styles, this one has super easy access in and out of this thing because of these big rolling doors. Now these doors weren't exactly used for delivering mail out the door. That's not what they were for. They just wanted to have an easy, quick way to jump in and out, grab a mail bag, throw it in the back, jump back in the truck, hit the next one. Although I guess you could deliver mail out of this. The steering wheel's over on that side, so I guess you'd have to do it in reverse or backwards or something. I don't know. This mail truck has a seat here on the passenger side. You'll see it's not actually attached to anything. It's just sitting here. This is just a way so you can have someone else in the mail truck with you. And it's also a neat flex because of the ribbon that it won at the Ironstone Concours. It's just a neat place to set the ribbon there. So the ultimate flex. Model A pickup trucks and commercial vehicles had a spare tire mounted over there. This has a side mount, but it's over here on the passenger side. Now, that's the unusual thing about a mail truck, but it does share some things in common with the pickup trucks and commercial vehicles, like the back of the headlights here. You notice how this isn't nickel or stainless. This is painted black. Same thing with the radiator shell. No nickel or stainless on a 29 mail truck. Same as the Model A pickup trucks. So this has the same exact chassis as that 1929 four-door Model A does back there. Same chassis, same 10-leaf rear spring, same everything, except it has this huge heavy body put on it. Something that a lot of people who make Model A mail truck lookalikes kind of goof up though is this. So it's important to note that the black doesn't continue all the way to the vertical panel here. The black is only on the hood. That was the Ford supplied part. The post office painted this part green to match the body, the part they supplied. That's kind of a detail a lot of people overlook, but it got correct on this one. Something else the Model A mail truck has in common with every Model A is the same 200 cubic inch, 3.3 liter, if you're into that stuff, engine. 4-cylinder, flathead, lots of torque, low RPM, but man, this thing has no trouble pulling this truck around. Let's go inside the mail truck. Here's what's really interesting. You see that ceiling? It's all wood slats. Outside, it's canvas over the wood slats. The whole roof of the mail truck is covered in canvas, and then it's got kind of what looks like black paint over it. It's pretty strong, but a little on the heavy side. So let's look at the driving controls of the Ford Model A mail truck. Just like every other Model A, Here you go. You have your timing, advance, retard here on this side, throttle on this side. You have the headlight switch. There's low beam, high beam, and off. Horn. And then over here you have the standard instrument cluster. There's the gas gauge. Since this is the gas tank, the gas gauge is just a float floating in the gas, so you can actually see it kind of bobbing around sometimes when you drive. Here's the amp meter so that you can tell if you're charging or discharging. If I turn the lights on, there's a discharge. Over here is the pop-out ignition switch. You turn the key, the ignition switch pops out. If you want to shut the engine off, you just push the switch in. Done. It's off. There's the key that it uses right there. Pretty fancy. There you go. And right here is the speedometer and the trip odometer. I guess you could reset that and then keep track of how far each mail carrier was driving. Make sure they weren't using the government vehicle for doing personal stuff. Other than that, pretty Spartan interior. Rubber floor mat, the same pedal arrangement as every Model A. This has the early 28 setup with the parking brake in front of the gear shift lever. It's not to the side like 29s and later, so this is like the early 28. They just kept that through 29 for the mail truck. The seating arrangement is very straight up and down. There's no leaning back anywhere. I'm told this is so that you could drive it standing up or sitting down, but it is really tight when you get in here. The steering wheel to seat it's only that far apart. You have to be a non-person of girth. I don't know how to put that any nicer. When you're driving a mail truck, if you are a person of girth, this will not fit you. It's very, very tight, but a very interesting straight up driving position, which makes it interesting because when you look out over the hood, you can actually see the front bumper when you're driving this. Unlike any other Model A, I've never seen the front bumper driving. Usually the radiator shell and all that blocks it. But in a mail truck, you're sitting up so high, you see the front bumper as you're driving, which makes it really easy to make sure you don't bump into anything with these sides of the bumper here. Looking in the back of the mail truck, yes, there is a lot of interior space in here, but it is very plain. There is nothing fancy about this. That door right there is the only interior window, so I guess you could see your packages falling over while driving. Now that door right there slides. I'll show you that in just a second. That is a mount for a cover that goes over it so the door fits into a pocket like a pocket door. We just don't have that cover on right now, but we're going to be putting that back on. Here's the interior door. So the first thing you do is you pull this latch down, and then you just slide the door. Boom! Full access to the back of the mail truck. Neato. Another feature that is mail truck specific is this split windshield. So you unscrew these, you can move this in and out, get a little air in here, which is interesting because it will hit the steering wheel if you open it all the way. And you can open this if you want to mess up your hair a little bit. This one moves outward. You could really get a lot of air moving through here. But boy, do they rattle. So before, when I was mentioning the seating position, here's what it looks like looking over the hood of a Model A mail truck. You have a commanding view, which I will show you a little bit more about this when we go for a drive. In some ways, the construction of the mail truck is a little crude. Like there's really no finishing here. There's no interior panels. It's just kind of crude. This is built just to be a utility workhorse. This isn't built to look nice or to have any kind of flair or fashion to it. It just gets the job done and gets you home. That's it. There is a little bit of under-seat storage here, about enough for a couple of rags, as you can see. That's about it. Pretty much that's all the storage in a mail truck. But there is a neat holder here for your fire extinguisher. I guess in case your cigarette lights the mail on fire or something. So there is a fun look at a 1929 Ford Model A mail truck. Let's close this thing up, go for a spin. So let's talk about driving a Ford Model A mail truck. It's exceptionally interesting. First of all, it's heavy. Second of all, It's top heavy, but it's a regular Ford Model A, so you still have the same 40-ish horsepower, but you're pulling this big, huge weight around. It's kind of floaty because it's so heavy. Now I have the door open for some ventilation, because one thing that's interesting about a Ford Model A mail truck, the exhaust gases go right in those open holes in the back. And if you have this door right here, the sliding door open, you can just smell the exhaust coming right in. So if you keep the door open, it really helps a lot. But it also makes it fun because, I mean, the ground's like right there. I get why Jeep owners drive with the sides of the doors off of their Jeeps. This is fun. It's a whole different driving experience. But with a Model A mail truck, you're sitting straight up. There's no leaning back. There's no kickback. There's definitely no relax. You're on it every second. You definitely have to pay attention when you're driving a mail truck. But boy, is this fun. Kind of wish I had some mail to deliver. That'd be kind of cool. But, yeah. Downshift, same as any Model A. Just take it out of gear, let the clutch out, rev it, push the clutch in, push it into the lower gear. Acceleration? No, it doesn't. Now, I have had this up to 55 miles per hour before. It will do it, but it was pretty spooky. 45 is a real comfortable speed in this. Now, a long time ago, my dad and I were talking about, what if we put an overdrive in this thing? I'm not sure it would pull it. This thing is really heavy. Third gear in this, almost on the floor, is about 55, and it pulls that. I'm not sure it would pull an overdrive. I don't think it needs it anyway. Why would you drive that fast in something that has all the aerodynamics of a parachute? It's kind of fun just driving around the way it is. I want to point something out here, and that is how tight this is. So you can see here, all right, I'm in neutral. So I'm sitting straight up and down in the seat. The steering wheel is almost touching, and the gear shift is absolutely right here at my leg. I actually have to move my leg over to get it in gear. And then the parking brake lever is kind of like where my foot needs to be to get the accelerator, but I'll show you what this looks like. Going into second is actually a little easier. No problem going into second. Third isn't any problem either. But if I'm going to slow down and go back into first, so you have to move my leg. Now I'm in first, but the gear shift is really touching my leg. Even if I move over, I can leave the seat like this and sit right on the edge, and then the gear shift touches. But if I sit in the middle of the seat, it's kind of weird. Anyway, it's a little tight in here, but who cares? I'm driving a Model A mail truck. You've heard me say before that Model A's make people happy. They really do. Model A mail trucks make people happy and confused. You wouldn't expect to see something like this driving down your street. Not at all. It almost looks like a cartoon. It drives really neat. Of all the rare Model A body styles, this might be the rarest. Kind of a driving experience reserved for the select few, but if you ever get a chance to drive a Model A mail truck, do it. It's a blast. And a little bit scary too. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you on the next video. Driving a mail truck.
About here maybe, or more?
A little more maybe. Come on, poopy pants. There you go.
Oh my god. Oh, I've got a cramp in the calf.
You're not cut out for driving old mail trucks.
Oh my gosh.
driving the coupe, huh?
Yeah. It feels so different. Like it feels big. Definitely different than the mail trucks I'm used to driving.
Okay, so you've driven new mail trucks because you did a little stint as a Christmas time fill-in for the post office.
Yes.
And you drove all kinds of mail trucks there, new ones. And now you're driving an old mail truck.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think?
I think people should be thankful for their mail people back in the day.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. This is definitely a lot harder to drive than our new ones.
Well,
oh my gosh.
it demands your attention.
Oh, 100%.
Let's just say that. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100% of your attention.
Oh, every little moment. Yeah. I can't even imagine having to deliver mail the way they make you today. And this?
Well, this wasn't for going from box to box, though. Remember, this was dumping off mail sacks. The mail carriers were all on foot.
Oh, okay. Well, I was hardly on foot unless I had to be in town in Murphy's. And then I was on foot just for that section of town, and the whole rest of it was all driving box to box.
Don't give me your whole life story, sister. So.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, we're just a couple of cool dudes out doing cool dude stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here.
We're